welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV International from the Citadel, and more specifically the National Police Museum, a very special episode. And in this segment of Nile Cruise, we'll be speaking about the sense of belonging for the younger generations here in Egypt. Of course, we did see and we did speak about the Battle of Ismailia and the National Day of the Police Troops here in Egypt on the 25th of January in 1952, and the whole story behind it. But the question is, do you think that this sense of belonging could be replicated for the younger generations or not? We'll be seeking more about such an answer with Dr. Rania, Lelah, the human development expert. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Rania, it's always a pleasure to have you with us on Nile Cruise, and it's a wonderful day. I'd like to start asking you, of course, patriotism and nationalism are always a controversial issue for all people. Some say that they are the same, some other argue that they are different. Kindly shed more light on this issue, please.
Yes, of course. Patriotism and nationalism. Same words have both some kind or some form of pride, of love of one's country. Both just refer to this thing. And some people say that they can use the same terms for one's, I love my country, so I may call myself like a patriot or a nationalist. But there is a big difference, huge difference between both. And that's why we need to pay attention, particular attention when we want to raise or develop or increase the sense of belonging to our kids, because we need to shed more light or to focus more on the sense of patriotism and not nationalism. And why? I will just state the reason right now. There's a journalist, author called Sidney Harris, and he just said that there is a big difference between patriotism and nationalism. And the difference between them is that patriot is love his country for what it does. He's just proud of his country for what it does. When it comes to the nationalist, he's proud of his country for whatever it does, no matter what it does. And this huge difference between the two. Patriot is devoted love, support, defense of his country, for love of his country. But the nationalist is just, I love my country and I would never accept or tolerate any criticism about it, no matter what. And if you agree with me, it's okay. If not, you are my enemy. The thin line between the nationalism and the patriotism is the exaggeration. That's why we need to focus when we increase the sense of belonging in our children's souls and minds and hearts. Whether it's patriotism, be a patriot, love your country, and always believe that there is sense or there is an area for improvement. You want to improve it, you want to make it a better place. You just tolerate whatever it takes, all its weaknesses, or all its problems and the challenges. So, but when it comes to the nationalism, it's just something different. And of course, we don't want our children just, be this extremist or go with this direction.
Yes. In terms of dealing with the children, how can we be increasing the sense of patriotism with the younger generation and to be accepting criticism as well without exaggeration?
It's a great question, by the way.
Thank you.
Make them active citizens. It's important to make them active citizens by contribute their time, their efforts, their knowledge, their attitude, their skills in the society. Increase or try to encourage them, urge them to contribute in the society, and try hard to shift their focus from this extremist approach or just like, I won't tolerate any criticism or any kind of criticism, to, yes, there is some problems out there. There are some challenges we may face in the future. We had some challenges and some problems in the past. But now we are fine, we are good. We will continue to improve ourselves more and more. So make them active citizens is just step number one. And this will be by contributing more and more their knowledge, their skills, and their attitude into society. Number two, love speech. According to Dr. Bradford from the University of Toronto, she said that we are emotional theorists. We accept what we believe about emotions. We are emotional creatures. So emotions is a huge part in our souls and minds. That's why we need to increase the love speech. And we are just doing this right now. When there is a communication, love speech between each other, this will increase the sense of belonging. And it all starts at home. It all starts because that child's first world is his parents, is his home. This is where he can find safe, find tolerance, find acceptance, find all these things. So when we just use love speech, now we become more and more aware of how to deal with each other on love basis, how to now tolerate everything around us with the intention that we can do better, we will be better, and focus on ourselves to be better, and then our community and our country, of course.
Nationalism is an essential part, of course, to implant in the new generations. Are there any factors that influence nationalism?
Yes, there are many things that influence.
Could you mention them, please?
Yes, nationalism, such as educational background, cultural background, parent education. It's a very important element because, as I just mentioned a while back, that the parents and the home is the first world, the first reference for the children. And all these things, among others, are influence nationalism. I just want to mention one thing, that when it comes to the nationalism and the patriotism is or involves positive connotation. It's all about the context and connotation for both. Patriotism involves positive attitude, positive sensation, positive feelings, positive love, positive things towards his country. But when it comes to the nationalism, it always includes negativity. Negative things, negative feelings, negative attitude, because now you are with me if you agree with me, or you are an enemy. And of course we have many movements, and this is a rising wave in the whole world, not just in Egypt, and the whole world.
Yes, Doctor, you mentioned an interesting term, being an active citizen here in Egypt. And we've seen how things changed under President Assisi in the past 7 or 8 years to be engaging the citizens and engaging more specifically the youth of Egypt, like the World Youth Forum, and having more and more or a bigger role in the Egyptian society under President Assisi. How did you see such a term being translated on the ground in the past years, especially for the youth?
Yes, it's a great effort. It's really huge efforts, and of course Egypt has changed a lot, massively, tremendously, dramatically from the past. And we all sense this change, and also the youth of Egypt, because now we have the hope. In the past years we didn't have hope, but now we have. And we have been encouraged to do more and more, to increase our knowledge, our skills, and to be part, to go on the political process of the country. We want really to be part of that. But maybe when it comes to the obstacles or the challenges or the massive number of fabricated news and the evildoers out there, maybe there are a lot as well. They're increasing dramatically. So we need more of love speech. We need more hope. We need more efforts than that. That's it.
Dr. Rania, does communication play a vital role in shifting focus of mindset?
Of course, communication always is the key. It's the keystone that everything else is built upon. Because it's the verbal cues, it's about verbal cues and non-verbal cues. Our children, as I just mentioned, that we are the reference. So they need a lot of things, even if they don't show that to us. They need to be heard. They need to speak their truth. So all you want to do, or all you need to do is to listen to them. Listen to the things they say and listen to the things they don't say, the non-verbal cues, because it's always the truth. It's the credible part of the whole communication, that you just listen with your eyes, with your minds, with your soul to the other persons. not to reply, not to interrupt, not to advise him, just to listen, to understand his character, how he think about things, what about his habits. He will say a lot of things, maybe with nonverbal cues, with his eyes, with his body, with his just movement gestures. That's why we need to increase. We need to develop this skill so much. If we want really to increase or to be close to our children, if we want to increase their sense of belonging as well.
Yes, when dealing with children and the younger generations, speaking about the love speech, as you've mentioned, Doctor, the love speech, how can I be balancing this love speech, especially with the children, not to be bringing up them as a spoiled child?
Balancing, yes. It's all about the balance, how to balance between this and that. It's all about how to increase or how to develop the positive mindset. It's all about you as a parent, and you have huge responsibilities. You are his first reference, his first credible source. That's why you need to build this trust bond between you and him. Love speech doesn't mean that you need to spoil him or just like pamper him all the time. You need to teach him and train him to be a leader. And why I just mentioned leader, because in leadership, you have this combination of great skills, mixture of great skills, how to be emotionally intelligent, how to take good decisions, effective decisions, be powerful and profound communicator. You need to raise him up as a leader. And with love speech, you just here trying to hold your son or hold your daughter, not to listen to anyone else. Be his credible reference. I will tell you a personal experience. My son, he is 9 years old, and of course he is now, I couldn't prevent him from exposing himself to the whole social media platforms. And each and single time or day, he just came to me with strange question, very strange question, maybe weird questions, and he needs from me an answer. And I have to answer him, credible answer. Even if I don't know, I will search for a really authentic one and just answer him. And believe it or not, even if he seems to be not very convinced with me and with my opinions, but I'm just observing him telling the whole other persons, his friends, his relatives, the same answers I just told him about. So he just maybe inside convincing unconsciously, but he needs to show in front of me that he is not convinced. So now I have as a parent a huge responsibility in this sophisticated world, fast-paced world full of internet, full of fabricated news. Evildoers are everywhere. You need to protect your child, but not preventing him from doing something, but be his credible reference and trust person to just answer him whatever he wants.
How does a sense of belonging make a difference in the life of an individual and society as a whole?
When any young person just feels this sense of belonging, he's willing to sacrifice his soul. We are kind, we are warm, we are helpful, we are good human beings. I'm talking about the Egyptians in general. And when just we feel that we belong to somewhere, some like homeland, our homeland, we can sacrifice our soul for it. We just need to increase this sense of belonging by encouraging them more and more to contribute in this society, to be a credible source, to increase the love speech, to tell them these stories of the heroes of Egypt, because we love stories. And the power of storytelling is profoundly great. And as we just love these stories, we can increase and we can tell them all the stories of the heroes. And of course, thanks to the media, it has great role, great impact on doing this as well. And in many forms, when it comes to series and Ramadan, and just told us about these heroes of October and of the heroes of the army and the military armed forces, of course. And this just increased the sense of belonging in their hearts and minds. That's why we need to educate their hearts and minds and souls, not just the curriculums in the school. Yes, the school has a great impact, great influence in persons or in our children and all the young persons and all these things, but educating them spiritually from inside, that it's your homeland. It's your country. You need, not you need to sacrifice, you will sacrifice it. If he's just telling you to do something, you will do it willingly, happily. Just not to be a hero, not because you have responsibility, great responsibility towards your country as well.
Yeah, speaking of the responsibility towards our country, what can create this sense of belonging to us as citizens in the country?
Could you please repeat this?
What can create the sense of belonging to us as citizens towards the country?
As a parent, because it always starts at home, as I've mentioned many times, you need to be a role model. You need to be a patriotic legend in front of your kids. And they need to follow you, not with your words. I can't say that I was a hero, I'm doing a lot of things, you need to be a leader, and all this by the power of words. And it's a huge one, I know. But when it comes to actions, it tells different story, totally different thing. And your people or your family or your sons, daughters, your kids believe your actions, not your words. When you just act like you really love your country. Will see the love of your country into your eyes. They will feel it from your soul, in your heart. They will not imitate you. They will just feel the same thing because it's very credible and authentic. It all starts with home. That's why when I just talked about the nationalism, it's all about the parents' education and the parents' culture as well, because it all starts there. It is the seeds that implanted in the souls and minds of the kids. After this, they will go to school. After this, they will go to the community. After this, they will go to the whole country.
Dr. Rania, younger generations are sometimes described as being less patriotic than older ones. How far is this true, and how do you see this from your own perspective?
I have mixed feelings about this. It's not very true from my humble opinion, but the huge fabricated news and the huge obstacles and the challenges and the evildoers out there everywhere. And this like a very big obstacles in front of our kids, because the internet has no, maybe it's a very huge thing. It's very wide, so there is no, not surveillance, but I can say that there is no censorship of very, yes, maybe I don't know if it's the real word or the right word to describe the whole matter, but I can't prevent my kids from exposing himself to all these things. That's why you need to work more spiritually. And some people or some young people or some youth, if I just mentioned the right word, yes, follow the trendy news, maybe the influencers, if they're just saying whatever it's right or wrong. I know that there is a very challenging thing, but a very big portion of other youth know the right thing, know that it's not about that. We need to follow our country and love it. And we know that we have many challenges, but we have some issues to resolve, and we will gonna resolve that. We will work on ourselves. We will contribute our time and efforts and skills and knowledge into our country to make it the greatest in this world.
Do you believe that the younger generation in Egypt is less patriotic?
Yes, I believe that.
What is the reason behind that?
Maybe because I have my children maybe in front of me, so I can see, I can absorb. I listen to the things they say, maybe between them and their friends as well.
Yes.
Maybe because I train people as well. I train some youth from many universities out there. I can listen to their thoughts, their behaviors, their feelings. Even if they pretend that they don't care, they want to maybe travel to another country, whatever. I want to go around the world. I want to leave this country. But this is just words. But inside, they have this patriotic legend. They have this sense of belonging. They love Egypt. Whatever happens, we know that it has some issues. You know, I just all describe that maybe we are the Egyptian and we just deal Egypt as a parent. We are the parents and it's our responsibility. I
Yes.
can scold my country or I can scold my kids. I can complain about my kids. But when anyone try to reach any of my children, I will turn out to be a tiger and maybe I will burn him or eat him alive. We're just doing the same thing with Egypt. Right? It's our responsibility. We may complain about some issues or any of its problems, but we'd never accept anything or anyone who just reach it or say anything about it or try to ruin or destroy its image as well. We have this inside us.
Yes.
Dr. Rania, one important thing that creates a sense of belonging is focusing on similarities rather than differences. Why does this seem difficult sometimes?
We need to focus on similarities, not difference.
Yes.
We love the people who are similar to us. You know, yes, exactly. It's really, it's a piece of, yes, it's the truth. We love each other. Okay, if you just see that we have something in common, I will love you, or I will like you, I will be your friend. We like similarities, but when it comes to difference, it's a challenging because it just erases or it increases this sense of uncomfortable with us. But if we want to improve ourselves or improve our behavior, we will work on that. You know, there is something called the cognitive triangle. It always starts with a thought, and this thought influences or impacts the emotions, and the emotions impacts and influences the behavior. And so it all starts with a thought. If you just control this one and make it very positive, very beautiful, colorful, this will impact your emotions, and you will feel this beautiful in the whole world. You'll focus on the beautiful things and the good and all these things, which after this influence your behavior. You will behave, or action will be great, or you will add a value to your life, your country, your family, and the whole community. And it all starts with a thought. If we just try hard to shift this focus or to shift this thought from negativity to positivity, or from focus on the negative to focus on the positive, focus on the solutions of the problems, not to the problem itself, focus on the things that increase or add value to us as a citizen and add value to our country, rather than focus on other thing else, this will make huge difference. And of course, nothing comes easy or nothing comes worthwhile comes easy. You know, we need to make efforts. We need to practice, and practice really makes perfect. It's not an overnight success. It's not an overnight that someone through overnight he will be great and we will maybe give solutions to all the problems around us. It takes time, it takes a practice, but you need to have this willpower, you need to have this intention, good intentions and efforts, and try to help each other as well, because helping others is a virtue. So you have, as a citizen, huge responsibility towards your small community, your family, towards your community, towards your whole country.
Dr. Rania, seeing the sacrifices that are documented in this museum make us pause the question, why were these people ready to make these efforts for their country? Of course, the museum of the Police National Museum, as we're, of course, approach the 30th of June, and it's a very important day.
Yes. For sure is the love for the country, and at the same exact time trying hard to make it the greatest country in the whole world. That's why it's in us. We love our country by nature, you know. It's just like heaven love for our country. So that's why
they sacrifice.
Yes. I have my son, I always tell him these stories, baby, because I'm very emotional when it comes to my country and the whole things and the history. I love history so much because I love this untold stories of struggle and pain and sacrifice. It's great, it's huge. I always tell these stories to my children to increase this sense of belonging, to know for how much they can sacrifice, people in the past and in the present and in the future. will sacrifice their souls and minds, will contribute for whatever it takes from them at all costs, just to make their country a better place, to make it the greatest between the whole world.
Yes, Dr. Rania Lelah, the human development expert. Thank you very much for being with us today on Nile Cruise.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anytime.
Dr. Rania, thank you so much for your informative knowledge. It's always a pleasure to have interviews with you. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you,
today.
same here. Thank you
The
so much.
viewers, you're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV. Stay tuned, don't go away. We still have more coming up here.